Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We are starting to get more and more stats and data in regards to the Black Ops 6 Warzone integration, and with it they obviously did a lot of changes to weapons. Not only do we have all the new Black Ops 6 weapons, of which we've covered several of the better options so far in its own specific loadout video, but we're also getting new info on some of the MW2 and MW3 weapons, which saw some major overhauls with the Season 1 update. And today I actually wanted to break down a couple of surprise meta loadouts that actually are able to compete with the best of the best options in the game. Like, these are actual true meta contenders at the top of the list. So first up here, one that you might not have seen coming is actually the SVA 545 from Modern Warfare 3. Now that True Game Data has gone through and actually tested several of the MW2 and MW3 weapons, the SVA has come out as one of the better rifles in the game. Its first damage range has one of the fastest TTKs, not just in the rifle category, but in the entire game as well. And also, it's still pretty easy to use. Now, you can go through and of course toggle this to be that hyper burst sort of burst fire style rifle that has basically no recoil, and it's still very good there. I also find it to be pretty easy to use in full auto as well. So the SVA across the board is now one of the more reliable rifles. So the setup here is going to be a little bit interesting because of some of the changes that they've made to MW2 and MW3 weapons. So initially, for an optic, this is totally preference. I've been running NIDAR since, the middle of last year as my main go-to optic. I'm very comfortable with this, and I feel like I'm very accurate with this. So this is one that I sort of default to a lot. If there's a different scope you like more, whether it's a 2x or red dot, whatever, always use whatever scope you are the most comfortable with. Now, for muzzles, really all you need here is a suppressor, because they're all going to do the same thing. If I go ahead and move my face cam over to the top left, you can see when you go through and you check out the suppressors, you're going to see they're pretty much all doing the same thing here. So their stats are all going to be roughly the same here. They're never really going to shift at all because they made that overhaul update to muzzles where they're pretty much all going to do the same thing. All compensators do the same thing. All suppressors do the same thing. So it doesn't really matter which suppressor you're taking here. If you want to run Spirit Fire, it's going to do the same thing for velocity and range as the Sonic suppressor would. There's quite literally zero difference there. So you can throw on whatever suppressor you want. It'll obviously keep you off the map and help out with that velo and that range. For the barrel here, I'm going for the precision. This is going to help out with velocity, range, control as well, just like it did back in MW3. So just making life a little bit easier there for the mid to long range. We're going to go for whatever extended mag you want. 60 is going to work fine. 45 could work for like maybe solos, but 60 is going to obviously be the best safety net. And then also high grain ammo on here. If we were to go through and remove that, we can see the full stats on what it's actually increasing. We get a 15% increase to the velocity, and then also a little bit to the range as well. So again, just making it better for mid to long range. And when you go through and you actually use this as that hyper burst, it's going to have no recoil, so you can fry over long range, but then even in full auto, it's going to be really reliable. So the SVA is surprisingly good. Another interesting pick is actually the Striker 9 from MW3 as well. Spoiler alert, we're really featuring MW3 weapons here today because they are way better than it seemed. This thing actually has one of the best TTKs out of all the SMGs. Now, it's definitely going to take some getting used to yet again, especially because the setup is so different from what you were probably running last year during MW3 Warzone. But in general, the Striker 9 is actually incredibly good for sniper support, for just a solid secondary. It's got a quick TTK, and its first and second damage ranges actually surprisingly reliable. So yet again, I'm going for the NIDAR model 2023 here. The irons aren't terrible, but I find myself to be more accurate with this scope on there. I also like the Sonic suppressor in this case. Again though, Colossus will be the same, all these other ones. Shadow Strike's going to do the same thing as well. No real difference between any of these, so use whatever suppressor you want. Or if you're looking for more control because the base range and everything is good, you absolutely could go through and end up using a muzzle brake or one of the compensators and getting better recoil control out of there. Your velo will still be 575 and you'll still have a decent damage range. So if you really want control, you absolutely could switch to one of those, and that'll still be a great choice there. For underbarrels, I'm going for the Edge BW4. Just like muzzles, these are the same deal here. All of the mobility-based hand stops are going to do the same thing. So BW4 is going to do the same thing as the DR6 hand stop would, as the MSP98 hand stop would, right? Now, if you're going for hip fire or something like that, then all the angled underbarrels would be better for that. All of the vertical grips are going to be better for control, and they're all going to be doing the same thing. Jack Slash here is still, for what it's worth, going to help out with some movement speed and then also some control. So if you wanted some on there, you could absolutely use Jack Slash as a viable choice as well. It'll be a little bit slower for some movement speed, but better for your sprint speed and whatnot. I think that's a good choice, but definitely test around and see which works best for you, mobility based or control based, or a little bit of both here. 50 round extended mag, pretty self-explanatory. Then again, I like high grain on here just to extend out that range and that velocity some. Once more, the default numbers on the Striker 9 are great, so you could actually switch this out for maybe a stock that offers better control or better mobility. Same deal with a rear grip or something, and actually get some decent value out of that. But in general right now, the Striker 9, another pretty surprising pick for one of the best SMGs and best weapons in the game. And by the way, as we are going through all the different weapons and setups here today, if you enjoy the video, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. Definitely helps grow the channel and share the video around to new viewers. And if you happen to be one of those new viewers, or perhaps you haven't subscribed yet, like for instance the 59% of viewers who are watching the videos but aren't subbed, I'd love to have you change that. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, because every single day this is the best place to be to stay up to date with news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns. Everything going on in COD is right here. I'd love to have you join us on the road to 1 million. We're getting closer and closer to that every single day. Next up here, another choice that might catch you by surprise, the Sidewinder. Now, let's face it, the Sidewinder during MW3 Warzone had a serious come up. This started off as one of the absolute worst weapons in the entire game, and by the end of the year, it was actually a true competitive option. And this year, it's actually, again, a really decent choice. Now, it's still a very awkward weapon. The fire rate here is a little bit more unforgiving than a lot of other guns, and you only have a 30 round mag max. But that said, this thing's TTK is solid, and it's also pretty easy to use in terms of general control here as well. You got to get used to the recoil some for sure, but you absolutely can master this gun and it'll feel really, really reliable in game. So as far as the setup goes here, once more, kind of a strange one because of how attachments change. Again, though, I'm going for my favorite optic in the game with the NIDAR model 2023. Again, same suppressor deal as always. Run whatever one of these you want. You're going to get some better range and some better velo out of that. We're up to a 24 meter effective damage range, but the drop off there is not harsh, and a 1009 velo when we stack all of our attachments on here as well. So that's one of the key components of that. The Predator Precision Barrel is going to help out with velocity, control, and idle sway, which is super convenient in my opinion. Makes the hit scan range better, makes the weapon easier to use. That's a win-win there for sure. The Pineapple Underbarrel is one of these same vertical underbarrels that's going to help you out with control all the same regardless. There's no difference in stats here, so use whatever vertical grip you want for better control here. And then also 30 round extended mag. That's the max here you can use. You're going to want to use that because if you miss shots, you need to have that safety net, and quite frankly, with this TTK, you can end up knocking multiple players with just a 30 round mag, which is pretty crazy. So definitely an interesting setup. It's so weird having these so flipped from what we were running, you know, back in MW3 Warzone, but it gets the job done. Hey everyone, really quickly wanted to give a big shout out to my friends over at Gamer Advantage. Every single time I'm doing a face cam video here on the channel, obviously I am rocking my Gamer Advantage frames. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Out of everything in my setup on a day-to-day basis, these are what make the biggest difference. They allow me to look at screens all day long, whether I'm working on content, editing videos, you know, playing the games, whatever the case is. These are keeping me headache free. They're letting me sleep better at night, reducing my eye strain. They are absolutely incredible, and this applies to you as well. If you are at work looking at screens all day, you're at school doing the same, or you're playing games, maybe creating your own content even, cannot recommend Gamer Advantage glasses enough. They got plenty of different colorways and frame options to fit your style. They offer prescription and regular lenses, so quite literally something for everyone. And if you ever want to get a pair for yourself, toss in code Immortal at checkout and you'll get yourself a nice little discount. Link for that will be down in the description below. Of course, we already talked about the Striker 9, but what if I told you the base Striker is also up there as one of the best TTK SMGs in the entire category, even versus Black Ops 6 weapons. It also has crazy good range as well, so you can end up using this for you know, just a default secondary if you want, but also you could use this as sniper support as well. So pair this with a sniper, an LMG, an AR, a battle rifle like maybe the Sidewinder for instance. Doesn't matter, this thing's gonna be reliable. So really interesting that both the Strikers are actually this effective in game right now. A decently similar setup here. I chose to go to the slate reflector just to switch things up a little bit, but NIDAR obviously still great here. Whatever optic you want, go ahead and run that. Same deal with the suppressors yet again. Put the Sonic on this time, no difference than the Colossus or the Monolithic or whatever else, right? I also went for the Recon long barrel. You're getting range and velocity here, and quite frankly, the cons, if we were to take that off and look at it, are not all that harsh for an SMG. 2% to your strafe speed, 4% to your sprint to fire. That's already still very fast. Like, this is great for enhancing this as both a standard secondary and especially as a sniper support choice there. So I love the feel of that. Jack Slash again is feeling really good here for the movement speed benefits and the control benefits. You can still run, you know, a movement based underbarrel like the DR6 hand stop or whatever, and that'd be a good choice too, but this is going to make the weapon even easier, and I really like the feel of that. Then I go for the 60 round extended mag in this case. 48's fine, but 60 is going to be the ultimate safety net. Really like the feel of that. Again, another surprising choice that is actually one of the best guns in the entire game right now. Now, post-edit Zach here because, of course, on the day that I was planning on uploading this video, we had some patch notes, and what do you know, they ended up nerfing one of the weapons I was going to feature in this video. With the Reclaimer 18, it had a crazy good effective damage range, and in today's patch notes, they mentioned, hey, we nerfed some unintentional ranges on shotguns. So just to be safe here while we wait on full new data to come out on the shotguns, wanted to include a different top-tier MW3 weapon, that is the DTIR 30-06. Funny enough, this thing in the mid-range is not that crazy good, but once it gets into the long range, it actually overtakes a lot of even good Black Ops 6 long range options. This thing's still a great long range meta option, and just kind of funny that this video is based around, hey, these weapons are surprisingly good because they're not BO6 guns. Wouldn't be surprised if they end up getting nerfed, and we're already here having to replace one because they've started nerfing some of these good older weapons. So use them while you can if you're looking for, you know, some fun action on weapons you probably have max leveled. As far as this DTIR setup goes, use whatever scope you want here, totally preference based. Again, I like the Night Owl Model 2023 a lot. I'm going for the Spirit Fire Suppressor, helping out with range and velocity, so it just gets even better in the long range where it's already very, very good. Extended 10 long barrel on here as well helps out with range and velocity, so we're up over 1,000 velo and we have a pretty good effective damage range at the same time. I also go for a vertical grip. It literally does not matter which one you do here. They're pretty much all doing the same thing, right, in terms of the recoil control and the firing aim stability. So bow breaker for this, you know, instance works just fine. And then the 40 round extended mag, pretty basic, pretty straightforward there, all things considered. DTIR definitely hits just exclusively in the long range. Close range, mid range, it's nothing special, but then you get into those 45, 50, 60 meter fights and it starts packing a punch for sure. But that being said, that's gonna wrap things up for this one. If you enjoyed the video, a like would be seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that every single day you are in the know for all things going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.